Number 8, be clear and honest with people. Trust me, we will choose our interest over anyone else's, so be very clear. So let's explain this why. How many people live based on, well, how does that person feel about me? And then now you're giving more of yourself than you're getting back. How many times do we walk into a deal and think, well, I don't think this could be right, and they're going to do this. And I'm going to break two things down for you. So I'm bidding a contract, and the sales staff is asking, saying, how did we lose this? What did we do? And I said, we are not going to sell our shorts to try to get in a deal. Harmonics Technologies is a for-profit company. Jack has a for-profit mentality. We are not a nonprofit. So at the end of the day, but I'm very clear with the customers. And so for me, this is how I think. I walk away and say, well, if you want a substandard product end result, well, then you'll pay a substandard deal. And this is what you'll always be. It's really crazy when you look at things and you look at people's lives. They're where they're at for a fucking reason. So don't worry about what they're doing. Just worry about yourself. You've got to set very clear expectations. I am very clear with everyone that works with me, that associates with me, and they know this. I am a hard ass. I expect perfection. I don't give a shit about your feelings. I care about perfection. When I walk in, I want to see an immaculate office. I want to see an immaculate warehouse. I want to see immaculate vehicles. I want to see vehicles all serviced. I want to see an immaculate house. I want to see everything at the end of the day, and that is my expectation. You can either choose to play on the team or get the fuck off. It doesn't matter to me. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be there, well, how do you feel? And there's this preconceived notions, and you're going back and forth. All you're doing is going to cause headache for both of you. And if you can't deliver the deliverable, just be honest. Again, it's like the story. If you can't get up in the fucking morning, don't be selling me a dream and saying, hey, we're going to go to coffee at 5:30 a.m. and you can't make it and you're grumpier and shit, because that's not who you are. Because look at this. I promise you, people care about their internal interest over yours. So you got to be very clear. You got to be very, very, very clear. When I'm doing a project, I say, yeah, I love what I do. It's my craft, but I'm not doing it for free. And I set the example and I say, this is what it is. I don't know how many times I've sat with people that I mentor and they're amazing at what they do. And I'm like, well, how much money have you made from it? And they're looking at me like, well, it doesn't matter. The measurable's not there. So you're great. You can deliver something, but the other individual across the table is taking advantage of you. They're taking advantage of who you are. And if you're not bringing anything to the game, you're not bringing anything to my table, then I don't need you. But I'm very clear about that. I'm like, if you're going to dine at my table, I'm not expecting you to bring the fucking steak or the potatoes, but you might have to bring the napkins. And if all you can bring is paper plates, I'm okay with that, but you brought something. I am very clear. You have to be working at the highest level of your capacity that matches mine. And let's break this down a little simpler. So people are like, oh, well, I can't bring what you bring. That's not what I said. At the highest level of your capacity. So let's think about this. If I bring a 2,000 horsepower Lamborghini and I lay it on I-25 and it goes at its full capacity, it's probably going to do 240 miles an hour. If you bring your Honda Civic and its capacity is 120 miles an hour, well, we're going too much. Let's say 110 miles an hour. Its capacity is 110 miles an hour, but it's probably not consistent at 110. So what you're going to say is, my Honda Civic is a 90 mile an hour full capacity car. Look how it goes back to the under commit, over deliver. So if you're able to go 110 miles an hour, well, that was gravy. And so you're just being very honest in who you are. Because what I'm telling you is, you only have one shot at the big game. So if you're bullshitting someone that might be the biggest whale you've come across, and you're setting this expectation that you're never going to get there, all you did was fuck yourself up. You didn't mess up the guy across. The whale doesn't give a shit. He can literally get your service or buy it or whatever. That's a reality, guys. That is a reality. In relationships, you have to set your expectation. You don't know how many times I've sat with couples and they're complaining about, oh, you know what? I want to make the sweet love this many times. She doesn't want to do it, and it's this contention. I thought he was going to bring this money, and then it doesn't. And so ultimately, you have to talk about what the fucking deal breakers are. You have to be very specific in what you expect. I am very, very, very fucking clear as crystal what I expect in my relationship, what I expect in my business, what I expect in doing business across the table with you. I am very clear. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to bring you 110% a deliverable, and you're going to pay 100% of your bill. Very simple. I'm going to give you 110% deliverable. You're paying 100% of your bill. Bottom line. If I'm going to help you, I'm going to give you 110% of my resources. All I'm expecting is 100% of yours. Very simple mathematics. I'll give you an example. This is a great story. Monday morning, I'm talking to one of my executives, and she calls me and says, hey, so-and-so needs his help. What do you think? I said, fuck no. I need you here immediately. We need to prepare A, B, and C for this contract. She understood, but I'm very clear. Imagine if in my heart I would have been like, I got to really get this done. I'm leaving for DC, and I'm thinking it's going to take 2 or 3 hours. And in her mind, she's thinking the whole day. And I would have come back, not had the contracts ready. I can't review. I can't get none done. Who's fucking pissed off? Now you're pissed off at yourself. You're pissed off at her, and you might lose them. You got to be very clear with people. So I'm very clear. And so what I've learned in my life is I like to talk to everybody like as they're a 3-year-old. Do not get the milk and drink it from the carton. Get the milk, and I like to display it. This is how you get the milk. This is how you pour it in the glass. This is how much you're able to pour through the day. Very clear. Do not worry about hurting other people's feelings because they do not give a fuck. They might not even know. Sometimes you're not hurting their feelings. They've never actually been tempered to deliver the request. And so sometimes you're actually helping them so that they can be better for themselves because no one's ever expected shit. But guys, you set the expectation and people don't bring it and they fail over and over, you need to cut them. That's bottom line. At the end of the day, that's a bad dog, that's a bad horse, that's a bad car. Cut your losses. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So at the end of the day, you just got to put things in very plain English. This is why my scopes of work, this is why my contracts, if we're sitting across and I'm arguing and we're not getting the fucking point across, I write you a real simple letter, a real simple memo. This is what's going to happen. If you don't do this, this is what I'm going to do. And then people can read it. At that point, however their brain wants to break it down, it's plain as fucking simple there. So that's why I'm a very strong communicator, a very simple email, the 2-line text. It's never a novel for me. I'm a very simple man. I just give it as you see it. So that's what you got.